I'm Hal Bernstein, for those of you who don't know me. This morning, we talked a bit about how science and innovation was driving our economic performance. And this afternoon, we want to pick up the thread, not so much about how we drive economic performance through science, but more particularly how we need to build an infrastructure which is capable of servicing the demands we believe will be generated by those new growth sectors. I'm delighted to introduce Chris Oglesby, Chief Executive of Bruntwood, who's going to give you a short presentation about how, between us, we're going to respond to that. Chris.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be back with Manchester at MIPIM again. Starting to feel like home, this place. I've got a bit of a sense of deja vu. It was 12 months ago that I was standing up here talking about Manchester's science offer. And it isn't a case of how I've been desperate and there not being a great deal to talk about. Far from it, despite the very tough economic environment, there is a lot for us to update you on. Before I do just bring you up to date with some of the progress that we've been making there, though, I just want to take one step backwards and just talk again about why it is that Bruntwood are particularly looking to invest so heavily in the science and technology sector, and why particularly the corridor area of Manchester is so attractive to us. Bruntwood is now up to, has a portfolio of 6 million square feet of office space across the country. 4.5 million square feet of that is in Greater Manchester, about 20% of the city centre and about 10% of the out-of-town market. It's fair to say, I think, that if we'd had that concentration of offices in any of the other regional cities, there's a serious question as to whether we'd have a business today. But the great thing is that Manchester has had a very, very strong response to the recession. In fact, if I take myself back 20 years to when I moved back up north from London, I was significantly more pessimistic about the outcome, or I should put let's talk in the positive terms. I'm significantly more positive today, looking forward, than I was there. Richard Leese said it at the Five Cities event today. We have a much broader economy, the foundations of which to build over the next 20 years. And we're convinced that with those foundations in place, the next 20 years, one of the key areas for expansion in the economy is going to be science and technology, and it's a big hole in Bruntwood's portfolio. Which really brings me then onto the corridor, and there we are. Stretching from St Peter's Square in the city centre down to the Whitworth Art Gallery down Oxford Road, the corridor is a significant source of competitive advantage for Manchester, and we really do feel now is its time. A series of things all happening at the same time. There is a significant concentration of knowledge assets down the corridor. There has been for a long time. You've got the largest university campus in Europe. You've got the largest clinical educational campus in Europe. But it's not just about their sheer scale. It is about what's happening there at the moment. You've got the post the merger, Manchester University is really pushing forward as a centre of excellence. In the meantime, Manchester Metropolitan University is positioning itself very much best in class. The sheer scale of investment by the institutions, £2.5 billion planned down the corridor. Jim O'Neill mentioned earlier the factor that there are so many foreign students now in the educational institutions. Again, completely game-changing down there, and two foreign Nobel Prize winners inventing graphene there is a very good illustration of that. But it's not just then that you've got this concentration of assets. You've got this concentration of assets right adjacent to the city centre. This morning, Mike Emmerich mentioned about how we haven't perhaps, since the Industrial Revolution, succeeded in commercialising things coming out of the universities recently. You really do feel now, after the last 20 years, that we have the right business community, the right foundations in place in that centre to ensure that we really do commercialise the opportunities coming out of the universities over the next 20 years. We've always been very good at startups down the corridor. Part of the problem has been then that we've then lost business from the location. One of the factors being demographic. Often the chief executives of these businesses have wanted to take them out of town to business parks. It very much feels that the demographic there is changing. The chief execs of these businesses are younger, they're more urban in outlook, and they want to be located on the corridor. Also, another reason was that the physical geography, historically the big industrial science businesses wanted to be close to things like rivers. The thing that's really driving now the location of these businesses is access to talent, and both academic and commercial talent. And here again, the corridor is uniquely positioned, both next to the institutions and the city centre. Add over that the Manchester magic formula, the fact that the city have got all of the parties working in collaboration, spotted the potential 4 or 5 years ago, set up the corridor board, which has got the 2 universities, the hospital, the city and the private sector working together to see how we can maximise the opportunity of the corridor. I hope you get the impression we're pretty bullish about the corridor at Bruntwood, and there are 3 projects I just want to briefly talk about today that we're involved with. The first is the redevelopment of the Manchester Business School, where Bruntwood have been selected as Manchester University's developer for this £72 million project. There are really three aspects to this. The first aspect is the new 200-bed 4-star hotel, which is a unique investment proposition in the fact that it benefits from a university guarantee of £1.12 million a year of room income. 22% of the hotel rooms will be taken by the business school for their blue chip executive education programme. But it isn't just about the university, the hotel. The hotel will also serve the city centre as well. That then frees up the rooms which are in the existing university. This is the new main entrance to the business school. The whole of the business school will then be redeveloped, as well as the rundown precinct centre on Oxford Road, which is the largest and best located retail down the Oxford Road corridor. In addition to the business school, and further down the corridor here is the former Royal Eye Hospital, where we're on site now with the initial enabling works in the old building. The plan is to convert the former eye hospital into a commercially viable centre of excellence for the biomedical sector. I'm able to announce today the new name, City Lab. It rather does what it says on the tin. It's world-class laboratory facilities located in the heart of the city. Peter, you're pulling a face about that brand there, but absolutely, as I say. The £21 million development will be a mixture of the old and new, the original and modern. It's an 80-20 split. 80% of the building is new build laboratory space. 20% is refurbished educational space for the biomedical sector, linked with a new modern atrium, which is where the hub space will be, which is where these businesses will come together to drive forward their innovative ideas. The first 15,000 square feet of pre-lets are signed, and we're expecting 1 or 2 very significant deals to sign in the next 2 weeks. We're also able to announce that we've appointed Lendlease as the contractor from an incredibly strong field, and our professional team, Shepherd Robson, and the wider team, including Sweets and Arup, DJD, are working together to pull together this BREEAM excellent scheme. Our third project on the corridor is one that we've been working on for 4 or 5 years now. I'm delighted today to be able to announce our our acquisition of, we're in the final stages of our acquisition of the Manchester Science Parks, one of the world's leading science parks, also located on the corridor Manchester. This is a very, very key strategic acquisition for us, and it's fantastic that we will be working going forward with the cities of Manchester and Salford and the two Manchester universities on this project. Manchester Science Park MSP started with just one building back in 1984 and has since played a key role in the success of Manchester science and technology businesses over the last 25 years. Manchester has had a great history of creating science startups, and as Mike Emmerich said this morning, but not necessarily the best history of really taking those on and commercialising them recently. The new £50 million graphene centre is an example of how the city is looking at how it can better commercialise these going forwards. We see MSP as being a great opportunity for Bruntwood to play its part in driving the growth of this sector, and look forward to working with the City Region science community to create the right environment for these businesses to thrive. Just as the growth of our core business has been as much about retaining and growing our existing customers as it has about winning new ones, so we see MSP being about growing and nurturing the developing companies coming out of the universities. From day one, we acquire 125 customers in the science and technology sector to add to the 2,000 customers that we have in our business. There's 400,000 square feet of property. Its current corridor site is currently 220,000 square feet. There's the Technopark at Burley Fields, one central park in East Manchester, and the Salford University Business Park and Salford Innovation Forum, which together make up the Salford Innovation Park. That's a combined floor space which, when you include City Lab, is over 500,000 square feet, dedicated to fostering innovation. And on that, I'll hand over to Howard, who'll introduce Mike. Thanks.
Thanks, Chris. That was inspirational. One of the things that Chris identified there was a project which City Lab, which I hope will soon become one of our early investment wins as a result of the Evergreen and other funding which we've established, and again, which demonstrates the role of the public sector, not only working with business, but also in facilitating the delivery of key objectives.